In the heart of Mexico, hidden behind towering fences, watchtowers that gaze into the infinite, and beneath a sky where not even birds are allowed to fly, lies a place no one escapes from, El Altiplano prison, said to be the most secure in the country, inaccessible, impenetrable, inescapable, and yet one night, someone simply vanished. No gunfire, no violence, just a shower and a chilling silence. This is the story of how the most powerful drug trafficker on the planet, Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán, defied logic, the state, and the world itself, and escaped. But before we tell you how the impossible happened, we have to go back to where it all began. A remote village buried in Mexico's Sierra Madre mountains. Here children don't dream of becoming astronauts or saving lives. Here the drug trade isn't a choice, it's the only way out. In this place, Joaquín Guzmán Loera is born. A small child, so small that neighbors soon give him a nickname, El Chapo. Shorty, he barely reaches 5'6", but his ambition? Boundless. He drops out of school as a young boy. He doesn't learn to read books, but he learns to read people. Working the poppy and marijuana fields with his family, he sows the seeds of what will become a global empire. El Chapo moves quickly, intelligent, cold, calculated. He observes, he learns, and he soon makes his way into the inner circles of the drug world. He becomes more than a worker. He becomes a problem solver. A shipment doesn't arrive on time. El Chapo makes sure it never happens again. His ruthless efficiency earns him respect, fear, and opportunity. When the boss of the Guadalajara cartel is arrested, everyone expects collapse, but El Chapo doesn't let the business fall apart. On the contrary, he upgrades it. He builds alliances, designs routes, transports drugs by planes, trains, and tunnels beneath the border. The Sinaloa cartel is born, and it will go on to become one of the most powerful criminal empires in history. Guadalajara, 1993, Archbishop Juan Jesus Posadas Ocampo is on his way to the airport, a man of faith, of conviction, unafraid to speak out against the ties between government and cartels. That same day, El Chapo also arrives at the airport. He's headed to Puerto Vallarta with his team. Within minutes, the airport turns into a war zone. Gunshots, screams, blood on the pavement. The cardinal is shot dead 14 times at point-blank range. Was it crossfire or a premeditated assassination, a mistake, or a message from the estate? Years later, the church would make its claim it was a crime of the estate. Following the massacre, the government takes action. El Chapo is captured, imprisoned, but even behind bars, his influence doesn't fade. From his cell, he continues to give orders, using lawyers as messengers. The Sinaloa Empire continues, untouched. In 2001, the pressure grows. Mexico's Supreme Court approves his extradition to the US, and so El Chapo decides to leave. The official version: he hides in a laundry cart, bribes a guard, rolls through the prison, and disappears. But others say he walked out, dressed as a police officer. Was it an escape or a state-sponsored exit? With his rivals crumbling, El Chapo attacks. Territories once held by the Gulf Cartel and Tijuana become battlegrounds. Nuevo Laredo is set ablaze. The bullets don't care who they hit: sicarios, civilians, children. When President Felipe Calderón declares war on the cartels, the country bleeds. Between 2007 and 2014, over 160,000 people die in the drug war. And while Mexico mourns, El Chapo becomes the most wanted man in the world and one of the richest, according to Forbes. In 2014, El Chapo is captured again. This time, he's placed in Mexico's most secure prison, El Altiplano. 24-hour surveillance, elite guards, no-fly zone. But while the world sleeps, his team begins to move. They buy land 1.5 kilometers from the prison, hire workers, and start digging. They dig in silence every day for a full year. What they build isn't a tunnel, it's a criminal masterpiece. 1.5 kilometers long, 10 meters deep, lights, ventilation, reinforced frame, a rail system with a modified motorcycle to carry out dirt, and later carry El Chapo himself. But they need something more: the exact location of his prison shower. So they sneak in a GPS-enabled watch hidden in food. Now they have their mark. July 11th, 2015, 8:52 p.m. El Chapo sits calmly on his bed. The security camera is watching, but can't see behind the wall of his shower. In the audio, the TV is playing, but beneath it, you can hear dull, metallic banging coming from underground. He stands, walks to the shower, takes off his shoes, bends down behind the wall, and then he disappears. He slips through a hole no bigger than 50 by 50 centimeters, climbs down a 10-meter shaft. At the bottom, his brother-in-law is waiting on the rail bike. Together, they ride the length of the tunnel until they reach a construction site. From there, they jump into an SUV, drive to a secret airstrip. A plane is waiting. Minutes later, El Chapo is flying back to Sinaloa. The guards saw him vanish in real time, and yet they waited 20 minutes to check the cell, even longer to look inside the hole. By then, he was already in the sky. Inmates had complained for weeks about drilling. No one acted. After the escape, the prison warden is fired. 4 officials are charged with helping. But the truth is clear. This wasn't an escape. It was an open door. At the peak of his legend, El Chapo makes a fatal mistake. He wants more than power. He wants fame, a movie about his life. He contacts Mexican actress Kate Del Castillo and actor Sean Penn. They meet in secret. A photo confirms it. Sean Penn interviews him. But what Chapo doesn't know is that the government is watching every step of the actors. His vanity would be his downfall. October 2015, special forces locate him in the mountains of Sinaloa. A chase begins. El Chapo falls into a ravine. His bodyguard picks him up. They vanish once again. But in January 2016, they make one mistake too many. One of his men places a taco order from a white van. That order leads authorities straight to a safe house. A shootout erupts. El Chapo escapes once more through yet another tunnel, but this time his luck runs out. He steals one car, then another. But the second breaks down. That delay costs him everything. Police catch up. El Chapo is arrested. He looks at the officers and says, "You're all going to die." But this time, no tunnels, no plans, just a cell with no exit. Mexico's president tweets, "Mission accomplished. We got him. El Chapo is extradited to the US. On July 17th, 2019, he's sentenced to life in Colorado's Supermax prison. Today, he remains locked away. No tunnels, no phones, no escape. But his cartel, the Sinaloa cartel, is stronger than ever." They say a criminal empire dies when its leader falls, but that has never been true. El Chapo was more than a man. He was a network, a symbol, and perhaps a warning. In a world where power hides underground, sometimes monsters don't escape. They vanish. If this story left you breathless, there are more waiting to be uncovered. Crimes that defy logic, escapes that seem impossible, secrets still buried deep beneath the surface. Subscribe to ENIGMAZE and turn on the bell. Here, we don't just tell stories, we unearth them. See you in the next Enigma.